This video is on solving multi-step inequalities. A multi-step inequality is an inequality that involves both addition or subtraction and multiplication or division. Solving a multi-step inequality is similar to solving a multi-step equation. We need to distribute and combine like terms if necessary, and then undo in reverse order whatever was done to x. And don't forget that if you multiply or divide an inequality by a negative, you need to change the direction of the inequality sign. Let's take a look at a few examples here. Okay, so the directions say solve each inequality, and in this case we don't have to graph. I think we've done enough practice of graphing. So number 1 is 5 minus 10x is greater than 45. So notice that the x is being multiplied by a negative 10, and then it has a 5 added to it. So the first thing I'd like to do is subtract 5 on both sides. So 5 plus negative 5 is 0. Don't forget to keep that negative in front of the 10x is greater than 45. And then x is being multiplied by a negative 10, so I want to divide both sides by a negative 10. And since I divided by a negative number, I'm going to change the direction of my inequality, so my greater than becomes a less than, and then 40 divided by negative 10 is negative 4. So my solution is x is less than negative 4. Number 2 has 4 times the quantity 3x minus 5 plus 7 is less than or equal to 8x plus 3. So my first step is going to be to distribute, so let's distribute that 4 to the 3x, which gives me 12x, and to the negative 5, which gives me negative 20, plus 7 is less than or equal to 8x plus 3. Before I go any further, I think I'm going to combine like terms. I only have one term with an x on the left side here, but I do have a negative 20 plus 7, so that's going to give me a negative 13. So 12x minus 13 is less than or equal to 8x plus 3. Now we have a choice. I have a variable on each side. I like to keep my variables on the left, so I think I'm going to subtract 8x on both sides. That's going to give me 4x minus 13 is less than or equal to 3. And so now I have to add 13 on both sides. Negative 13 plus 13 is 0, so 4x is less than or equal to 16. And dividing by 4, x is less than or equal to 4 is the solution to that inequality. Our next example, number 3, is 9x minus 5 times the quantity x minus 5 is less than 4 times the quantity x minus 3. First step is I'm going to distribute. So I'm going to distribute, well, I'll just have my 9x here, and I'm going to distribute a negative 5 to the x, so negative 5x, and a negative 5 to another negative 5, so negative 5 times negative 5 gives me a positive 25 is less than 4x minus 12, distributing that 4. I notice I have two like terms over here, a 9x and a 5x, so 9x minus 5x gives me 4x plus 25 is less than 4x minus 12. Okay, I'm noticing that this is a little strange. I have a 4x on both sides. Let's see what happens when we subtract 4x on each side. Okay, 4x minus 4x is 0, and that leaves me with a 25. 4x minus 4x is 0, and that leaves me with a negative 12. And I'm left with the statement that 25 is less than negative 12. Well, 25 is not less than negative 12. 25 is actually greater than negative 12. So this is an example of an inequality that has no solution. There is no value of x that I can plug in to my original inequality that's going to make it true, because I ended up with something that at the end was not true. 25 is not less than negative 12. Let's take a look at number 4 here. Let's go ahead and distribute this 3, so that gives me 12x, and then 3 times 6 is 18 is less than or equal to 42 plus, oh, now be careful here, do not add 42 and 6 to give me 48, because this 6 is being multiplied by the quantity 2x minus 4. The 6 actually has to be distributed to the 2x, giving me 12x, and to the negative 4, giving me negative 24. No like terms to combine over here, so I'm just going to leave that the same. And 42 minus 24 gives me 18 plus 12x. And again, I have a strange situation. What I'm noticing is that I have exactly the same thing on each side of the inequality. I have 12x plus 18 is less than or equal to 18 plus 12x. If I wanted to, I could subtract 12x on both sides. Let's see what happens then. That gives me a 0 and leaves me with 18 is less than or equal to 18, and that turns into a 0. Okay, let's think about this. Is 18 less than or equal to 18? Well, 18 is not less than 18, but 18 is equal to 18. So this is actually going to be true. So this means that I can put in any number for x and this inequality will be true. So this is an example of all real numbers. X can be any number, and that will make that inequality true. So in this video, we took a look at how to solve a multi-step inequality, pretty much the same way as solving a multi-step equation. If we have parentheses, we need to distribute, we may need to combine like terms, and we want to get all of our variables, all of our terms with a variable on one side. Make sure that you remember that if you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you need to change the direction of your inequality and be on the lookout for situations where you may have a no solution or an all real numbers solution.